How you doing, everyone? Turkey Buzzard here. I'm at Echo Lake Lumber in Far Harbor, and according to the sign, there's a lumberjack festival. Although I normally do pre-war type builds, I decided to get away from that this time because I wanted to rebuild this lumber mill and make an actual working lumber mill. And although the game doesn't really give you materials to build a lumber mill, I decided to go ahead and do it anyway. And I had to start by repairing the main building here. Most of the roof was missing, big chunks of wall missing, pieces gone. So I had to repair all that, and the roof pieces came from the Cabin in the Woods mod. When the author redesigned the mod, he made the roof pieces at the precise angle that they're supposed to be, so they fit in and worked excellent. And you'll notice a ton of lighting out here. With the weather and the fog and everything, it gets really hard to see, especially at night. Inside, since this is easy access from the outside, I decided to make this into a small workshop type area. I figured when they need to come in and work on some of their tools, like their chainsaws or whatever, this would be an easy place to do it. This area here, although they probably normally use it for other things, I figured they'd set it up for the festival goers. Although the festival isn't happening now, they are preparing for it. And I figured they'd set this up so that the festival goers can come inside to eat in case the weather gets bad. Up here I set up a small office type area, but it's also a lounge area for the lumberjacks and a kitchen area. While most of their furniture and stuff is old and beat, they do have a decent kitchen set up. And when the lumberjacks want to eat, they come up here and sit at this long table and eat. In here is some of the beds. I don't like the bunk beds that they give us, them ugly gray things, so I always build my own bunk beds. And this is a small lounge type area. And the kitchenette. They already had a kitchenette here when you first get here, but I scrapped that and built my own. And of course I put more beds up here. And you can see here how nice the roof pieces fit in. He got the roof pieces at exactly the right angle, so they come out really nice. And it made it nice so that I could put beds up here and, you know, even these triangle pieces on the end. So now the settlers can come up here and get out of the weather. They have a decent place to come and eat, sleep, lounge around, be out of the weather. But you know, being that they live out here in the middle of nowhere in the sticks, I don't think it come out too bad. You know, they're not high class people, so they're comfortable. And I still put the bathroom in here. I didn't put in a shower or a bathtub. I just figured if they wanted to get cleaned up, they'd go out and jump in the creek. And out here I set up my provisioners over here, and the minute I put this in, Lucas Miller showed up, so they've been using it. And I put my mute fruit plants over here. Those are not planters, those are actually roof pieces from the Cabin in the Woods. There's a small tent here. And normally someone's sitting on that tractor, but I don't know where he's at the moment. He's not doing his job, that's for sure. And obviously the game doesn't give us like semi-trucks or anything like that. So I had to build my own flatbed truck. And it didn't come out too bad. I just figured, you know, the guy would use it to haul logs or whatever. So it came out alright. And of course, when you first come here, they already have logs laying around, but I scrapped them all because I wanted to put logs where I wanted them. And I decided to give them a small rowboat in case they decided to go up the creek for something or go fishing or whatever. This crane was already here, and since I was rebuilding the lumber mill, I decided to leave it here. I liked it. If there's one thing a lumber mill has plenty of, it's logs, so I decided to use log cabins. And as I said, I left these here. I did have to piece in pieces that were missing, but it came out alright. And of course they use forklifts and cranes and everything to move the lumber around. And this walkway over here was already here. I just decided to put the doorways so that they had access. I put in a water tower. And this is where they cut up the logs. Oops, I need to put in some supports for the... right there. I'll get around to that. But this is where they cut up the logs. In order to make the saw, I wedged one of the two-man saws in between a couple of conveyors. It was the only way I could create a saw. But it didn't come out too bad. I think it gives the general idea. And of course they have some tools and whatever hanging on the walls. Finished lumber here. And I had a Brahmin move in, so I had to give him a small animal shelter. Set him up. And this is where they actually hold the festival, you know, where they have like their different contests or whatever. I figured they'd have like pole climbing and log chopping and sawing and, you know, just different types of contests for the lumberjacks. And the bandstand, when you come here, is just a mess. And of course you can't scrap any of it, so what I did was use snap and build. They have some cement steps in there. And I rebuilt new steps right over top of that whole mess, and I built them all the way up through. And it cleaned the area up nicely and made it so I could put new benches in here. And then that way the festival goers can sit up here in the stands and watch the contests. The outside, I put some log pieces there so that people don't fall off and hurt themselves. But I think it come out really good there. I mean, I really like the way, you know, I'm happy with how it came out. Small tent here. And of course, porta potties. I have a mod called Conquest, which allows you to build settlements in areas where you don't normally have settlements. So I wanted to be able to have use of those concession stands over there, so I used the Conquest mod to create a new settlement right next door. And actually part of this area is shared between both settlements. From that street light to that street light, this small area in between is actually shared by both settlements. And that came in very handy, as I'll explain in a little while. And the festival sign, which I recreated on this side. But I just like the idea of being able to use these concession stands for the festival. That was an ice cream stand, but I decided to make it into an information booth. And it just seemed like, you know, a natural place to have a settlement. I don't know why the game didn't give you this area to begin with, but the Conquest mod made it possible for me to actually use this area. And this was a small stand where you threw baseballs at milk bottles, but I decided to turn it into a target practice stand. I don't know where the guy is at the moment, but here's a small drink stand. Most of these counters are covered with trash and you can't scrap it, so you basically have to work around it. But a hot dog stand. And over here is seafood. So that ain't too bad. Huh. The guy with the hat is the one that belongs over there on the tractor, so I found him. Instead of working, he's over here hanging out. And this is a small weapon shop. And there was a weapon in this case, but weapons tend to glitch out and disappear when you fast travel away, so which is probably what happened in this case, but it's no big deal. And around the corner I set up some wooden fences here because those are all shipping containers, and I thought they were really ugly. So I decided to hide them by setting up some wooden fences. And how this Conquest mod works is you set down a duffel bag in a spot and it allows you to set up camp, and then once you do, you have the option of putting in a workbench, and if you do, then you get to name your settlement. They give you a few options for names, and I chose Garwood Outpost. And I put in some turrets and a guard post. That's actually a statue there, it's not really a guard. But this settlement goes out quite a ways. It goes down to these logs in the middle of the road here. It goes up into the woods. And actually goes all the way up that roadway, almost to the entrance of Echo Lake Lumber. And there's the workbench, which I put in. I set up a sign for the festival. And over here is where these guys live. As I said, the Cabin in the Woods mod now has roof pieces which allow you to plant crops. So I really like that because it came in handy in this particular situation. And these guys don't live high class, but they make out okay. And I wanted bunk beds, but I couldn't just build the bunk beds here because my Place Anywhere mod doesn't work, and it would have taken me forever to pillar glitch all this stuff together. So what I did was I went over to the spot that's shared between the settlements and I placed the beds down. Then I went over to Echo Lake, opened my workbench, built the bunk beds, then came back here, opened my workbench, grabbed the bunk beds and moved them in. So it was kind of tricky, but I did it. And that fog condenser was right here in the middle of this walkway. But the Place Anywhere mod allows you to move certain objects, and so I moved that out of the way, which, you know, it's really nice having these settlements working side by side, because when the lumberjacks are not working, they're over here. All of them, they come over there and hang out at the concession stands. And this lit area is actually outside, but right from this spot on is all Garwood Outpost. So this is all actual settlement there. The lit area is outside of the settlements. And that's actually a bait shop down there. But I don't think it come out too bad. I do want to mention someone I found. Her name is Phoenix. Actually, her name is Phoenix Embrace, but she's listed as Phoenix. Check out her channel and watch some of her videos. If you like creativity, man, you're going to fall in love with her, because she is just so creative. And you know, you won't be sorry you watched her videos. But anyways, that's my build, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. It only takes a second of your time, doesn't cost anything, and it helps support my channel. And as always, subscribe for more. But thanks for watching.